was a helicopter crew chief in Vietnam during the late 1960s. He flew through clouds of Agent Orange regularly. Almost 10 years later, in October 1977, at the age of 27, he was told he had inoperable abdominal cancer. Then 8 months later, he saw a newspaper article warning Vietnam veterans of the possible link between Agent Orange, also known as herbicide 2,4,5-T, to long-term illness and cancer. Paul formed the organization Agent Orange Victims International and dedicated the remainder of his life to warning his fellow veterans of the potential hazard of their exposure to this herbicide. Paul Rudishan died December 14, 1978, but the work he began has gone on to affect thousands of lives, and this is his story.
Well, on May 17th of this year, I read a small UPI article in the Daily News, and just put two and two together. They warned in the article about Agent Orange and it being cancer-producing and fetus deforming. So I just got on the phone and I started calling people up and saying, hey, look, this is me. I'm 28 years old. I have cancer, and I was in contact with Agent Orange quite a bit, and people listened to me. I called up the fellow from the UPI article, who, ironically enough, Robert Kaler of the UPI Washington Bureau, was an Air Force sergeant or something along that line, and he sprayed the stuff over there. And we got to talking, and he started asking me specific questions about exactly where I was in Vietnam and where the sprayings were and everything else, and they all lined up. And he asked if he could do a 35-minute interview with me, which he did. And from May 17th, that Sunday, I was in UPI nationwide, and from that coverage, it just snowballed. I was 17 when I joined the service. I graduated high school a year early, and I wasn't ready for college at that point, and Vietnam was really not in the picture. And I decided I'd join the service and visit relatives in Germany, and that's what the Army promised me. But then Lyndon Baines Johnson had a different idea, and he wanted to get going with the Vietnam War and get those 500,000 troops over there. So they changed my orders, and I was sent to Vietnam. I was a sole surviving son and sole support, and I tried to get out of going to Vietnam because I had my family to think of. And they didn't let me do it because my father did not serve in the military. He had something wrong with him, and he was 4F. And they told me I had to go, so I fulfilled my obligation. I went. In October of '77, I was brought over to the emergency room at Norwalk Hospital, and they found 8 tumors in my lower abdomen in the cavity. And they had an emergency operation 3 days later and removed 6 tumors, leaving 2 surrounding the colon and going down to the pelvis bone. And they sewed me back up and went after it with cobalt treatments and chemotherapy. To date now, I've had over 4,000 rads of cobalt, which has almost perforated my bladder and intestines. And I'm in a considerable amount of pain to begin with, and that just made the pain even worse. And right now I have to take pain medication all the time, every 2 hours, liquid morphine. And I have a tough day ahead of me when I wake up in the morning. Sometimes I feel so irritated inside that I wish I could be outside my body, because it creates anxiety, depression, and nervousness, and it really affects the central nervous system. And I'm having a lot of problems at this point dealing with that. I'm on Thorazine at this point, and I'm seeing a psychiatrist at Norwalk Hospital. And I do need to verbalize this, but this dioxin, this poison that's in my system is still in there, is doing a terrible job on me. I was very careful about my health, about my eating. I was really a health nut. I mean, I jogged 5 miles in the morning, did exercises, and was an avid downhill skier, swimmer in the summer. You name it, I was in very good physical condition. I was a helicopter crew chief, and we used to support the 20th Engineer Group there, and the Air Force was flying missions right near us many times in the Central Highlands, and we actually flew through giant clouds of Agent Orange, and at that time none of us knew how deadly it really was. We had no orders or anything telling us not to be near it when they were spraying it. And the engineers themselves, their job was to knock down the jungle and make compounds way out in the sticks, and they used it with Indian tanks and sprayed it hand pumps and with 55-gallon drums from a truck, and that's where I was exposed to it many, many times. There wasn't too much regard for the land or the people. They didn't check out the chemical to find out what it would do before they used it. They knew it really killed trees well. They just didn't think, they just did. And they did that a lot. When you're in the air, there isn't one place you could fly that you wouldn't see a big 500-pound bomb crater somewhere. By spraying Agent Orange, which was 1/7 of the landmass was covered with it, and implications are right now that that land will not be able to be tilled for 100 years. I mean, what did we do to that country? At this point, I see that it becomes so that I'm the one who's responsible for getting the word out, and I gladly take that job. I believe that it's not my job to begin with, but since no one else is doing it, and this is my life right now, is warning other veterans that they should get a checkup, that they should go seek help. And the symptoms are, they start out with dizziness, nausea, and go on to a rash called chloracne, which is pimples and blackheads, and it can be on any part of your body. And from there you go on to psychosis, neurosis, psychological problems. You get in a confrontation, you can't handle it, you go into a rage, just over simple things. And from there, you go on to rapid weight loss, which is very serious at this point of the game, stage of the game, because at rapid weight loss, the dioxin stays in your fatty tissue, and when it goes out into this, when you have the rapid weight loss, you could even be dieting and it would still go out into your system, and within 3 months, which happened to me and a lot of other people, you'll have cancer, and it could be anywhere in your system. Well, another victim, New Haven, and husband can't accept it. They read it in the Advocate and read it in the Register earlier, and he's not going to the doctor, but he wants to speak with me, and then he doesn't want to speak with me. He's afraid that if he does speak with me, that he's got all the symptoms, he's got numbness in the limbs, and they almost broke up last year because of his irrational behavior. And it's been 2 years, and finding out that percentage-wise, that from 68, well, 66, basically 67, 68, and 69, especially in the 68 years, a lot of guys have had the psychological symptoms for the last 2 years. It's something that has been coming out for the last 2 years. And I just hear it over and over again. Marriage is broken up. I would say 30% of the people that call are in that category.
What's it done, this whole thing done to your personal life?
It's made it a complete wreck. I mean, all my dreams and everything that I had with my fiance and our marriage and everything like that is just totally destroyed, the whole thing. There's nothing left of it now. And there's bitter memories. And I blame her. I mean, we both have our problems, but I have some big problems. To me, Vietnam was a nightmare. I was 18 years old. I had to grow up very soon. And